Good morning. This is the Blaine's World Podcast, where conversations are worth hearing and seeing. You can watch each week on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can also listen in on Spotify or podcast. And for more information and past episodes, you can visit our website, which is behind me, blainesworld.net. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, coming to you in my Zoom studio in lovely downtown Fairview, North Carolina. Each week, we share positive news and uplifting stories about people and organizations in Western North Carolina and across country. And toward that end, it's my pleasure to introduce Chuck Fink, a storytelling show producer and also a storyteller himself, who'll be my guest today. And Chuck, feel free to wave to all your fans and friends who are watching. Okay. And this is
Hi there.
Chuck. Chuck, I should mention that he entertains audiences through telling his own stories, producing storytelling shows, and teaching classes on the art of storytelling. I think this, Chuck, this is what, the 73rd or 74th time you've been a guest on my show?
I think I'm the Joan Rivers of Blaine's World.
Okay, but it's been on a bunch. Well, let me start off by asking you this question now, Chuck. I've known you as a colleague, a friend, a whole bunch of other capacities as well. But of all things you're now doing, producing, you're telling and teaching classes on storytelling, which do you enjoy the most?
Well, literally all three, but I derive I guess, a special pleasure, if you will, from teaching and producing because I'm helping others. And by the way, when I'm telling my stories, I feel like I'm also helping others because we're creating a connection, a human connection through a story. That's vitally important. But I also get just good vibes, great feelings when I teach and I see those folks, as one of them will be in this upcoming show, when I see them get more involved with storytelling. Producing also, it gives me a chance to give other folks a stage where they can shine here in Asheville in a couple of different settings, either at the Story Parlor or the Weaverville Community Center.
Now, what's kind of cool is that you teach this class, I know, and that oftentimes then you feature the people in the class as storytellers. And is this the first time they've ever been a storyteller?
No, the people that graduated from my last class graduated uh, they did so in January, and they had a show in April that was their premiere at the Weaverville Community Center, which is where I taught the class. However, in the show that's coming up on July 19th at the Story Parlor, one of those people, Sarah Wilcox, is also on that stage as well.
So that must be pretty exciting for you to see these people you have in the class and then all of a sudden have them in a show. Oftentimes, it is their first time they've been in a show.
No, no, she's been in the one in April, and I think this will be her third.
No, but I mean, other than those, the first time they've done it is after they graduate the class. Before that, had they been storytellers at all?
For the most part, no, I can't think of any offhand that were storytellers that took my class. In fact, there are classes for folks like that, but mine are free, first of all, no one pays. So it's a different experience when people who think they can have stories but are afraid to tell, they take this class and all of a sudden they open up and say, wow, I've got a whole bunch of stories. And they realize there's a technique, but they also realize while making a connection for others, they themselves are also feeling a little bit better. In other words, it's therapeutic without being therapy.
What's interesting I find out about this, Chuck, is that so many people, as you're kind of saying, find out that they do have stories to tell, but they never realized they had stories to tell. How do you come to that conclusion? Or even in your case, for example, the first time you started telling stories, did
Yeah.
you think you had a lot of stories to tell?
Well, first of all, I define storytelling as, and I don't want to cuss on your show, but I'll say BSing with an attitude. And I am blessed to have both. So, but literally, before I retired, I was a consultant and a corporate trainer. So the only way to keep people engaged is to tell stories. And that's where I started doing this. And then when I retired in 2013 is when I started storytelling. And I just love it because again, I'm telling of myself and at the same time taking a deep breath. I can't believe I got through that. Not the storytelling, but the story that I'm telling about that event or whatever that might be. But it's also just to have people come up after a show and say, "Oh, that really got me. That's something." Words to that effect. That's why I do it. I can tell you it ain't for the money.
Do you remember the first time you told a story to an audience?
Yes. 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 It's still my favorite story, and I call it Gertie, and it's about
Okay.
my mother-in-law. And whenever I teach a class, it's the first story that I'll tell them to show them that they have stories inside them. And the story came out naturally. I hardly had to work on any of the wording. It just, she was so much a part of our lives for a very, very brief time, but her impact is forever. So that story is the one that's absolutely dearest to my heart.
Where did you tell that? When was the first time?
Let's see. I think. Gee, I don't even remember. It might have been at Ollie, the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. I told another one about the second story I developed was the time I drove a golf cart into a lake.
Well, that was one of my favorites. And that
Yeah.
one also, I remember I had the honor, I actually taped it. I maybe when we were the first ones to ever tape it, but I just
Mhm.
love that story. I still do. And so that's kind of cool. Some stories, I guess, always never die kind of thing that you
Yeah.
told them both, I guess, a bunch of times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How
And
many
Gertie, yeah, all my stories, yeah, they have a track record that I leave behind.
how many stories do you have?
I never counted, but I'm going to guess maybe, I don't know, 40-ish.
Oh, really, that many?
Yeah. But again, it's BSing with an attitude, so maybe 12.
So that's really cool. So you keep a record of these that each time, let me ask you this, in terms of telling the story, does it change or evolve or what happens?
Yes, it really depends on the story and more importantly, the audience. There are some audiences, certain words you don't want to use, certain images you don't want to portray. I have an example that I just developed a new one. And there's for storytellers, we have two great organizations, the Asheville Storytelling Circle and the North Carolina Storytelling Guild. And every Monday, the Guild has from 7 to 8, where two tellers share a new story and get tremendous feedback from somewhat professional tellers that are on the Zoom call. The last one I told was about my days as a hippie back when I went to college from 68 to 70 at GW, George Washington University, where you rolled out of bed and you were at a demonstration. You sneezed, it's because there was tear gas all around. It was just, part of the thing back then. But there was one story within it that I was afraid to tell because it involves poop. But after I told it, I told them about that, and they said, "Oh, absolutely, you've got to include that." So next time I tell it, it'll have some poop.
Okay. So it's funny you say poop. So in terms of any things, are there any things you won't mention in a story or you intentionally keep out?
Yes, it depends on the story, and I don't want to go into detail on one
Sure.
in particular, but one in particular had a very deep impact on me. And I noticed it after I would tell it, there would still be kind of an affect about it within me. So I decided I'm not going to tell that anymore. And I'm glad. It was a tough part of my life and it doesn't need to be shared.
Okay. So you've gone then from storytelling. What got you into eventually producing storytelling shows for others?
Yeah. It's a really good question. The first thing, it was just at the Weaverville Community Center. It opened in 2019, and we opened it with a storytelling show in October of 2019. And that was the first time I produced, and I worked there with Jill Totman, who still is producing there. She does a great job. But that was my first taste of production.
Okay.
Then I decided uh, the center at that time hadn't been backed by the town. I was getting uh, sponsors. I was having every storytelling show where we had a professional teller. I'd have to find sponsors, and we'd have to set up the chairs and put them down, and we'd have as many as 140 people. And sometimes audience members would do that. And you just don't want to see that happen. So I eventually pulled back, and that's when I started producing shows at the Story Parlor, which is just a fantastic place as well. Great people.
But you're still doing things at both, though, right? You're still doing it at the
Yes,
Will Center and the
yes.
Storytelling
Yeah.
Parlor. And talk if you would then about the parlor, because I recently attended a show there too. It was terrific. The one woman show about being an American citizen, or
That's from Carolina Quiriego.
yeah,
And I
just
got an email from her, and she's going to be leaving for Kansas in a couple of weeks. She's just a marvelous, marvelous person.
is that leaving as in permanently or coming back?
Yes. Yeah, she's moving from Black Mountain to Kansas.
Oh, really? What a shame, though.
Yeah. It's a
Magnificent.
loss.
Yeah.
She's such a fantastic person, and becoming American was the name of the show. She's just a wonderful person. Yeah.
Have you seen that one woman show?
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that this year, but at the Storytelling Circle, we'll practice our stories to each other. And I think I've seen her do that at the Storytelling Circle.
It was so much fun, and she did such a good job
Yes.
of it.
The
And
game show.
she got the other guy, the guy to do it with her.
Yeah.
Name's escaping me. The
Oh yeah. The, I know you're talking about, so it'll
we'll,
come to us about an
we'll
hour
think of it,
later.
but it was such a fun show. So fast forward
Tom
there,
Chalmers.
Tom Chalmers was just great with this, and he was like the MC to the
Yes.
event. Did a great job with it. So
And by the way,
aside,
just one other thing about Carolina.
yeah.
One of the brightest people I've met as well. She is so highly degreed, but then want to get a master's at East Tennessee State University in storytelling. I think her original degree was an engineering degree, so she's quite something.
Okay, when I saw that too, that's pretty impressive too, that people can now go to school, they can take a course with you, I guess, though.
Yeah.
So talk about that process then. If you want to get into storytelling, best bet is to, I guess, come to a storytelling event and
Well,
then
I think, yeah, it would make sense to see what it's all about because it is different than just sitting around your living room table and talking with people. Although there's a style, I call it the living room laid back style. That isn't a bad way to go, but you're still talking to a much broader audience. A lot of people have stage fright. I think my classes, I really recommend. It's not about trying to get money from everybody, but it's a great way to just step into the pool, stick your toe into the deep end. Actually, a shallow end. By the time you're done, you're swimming laps. Literally, you are. And I think that's important. But like you're saying, it's smart to start with a show. And there's also different types of tellers. There's the tale tellers, there's the personal narratives, which I personally am and appreciate, but the tale tellers also are just amazing. A dear friend of mine, David Holt, recommended if I want to improve as a personal narrative teller, listen and watch and observe tale tellers. And I have, and I've learned a lot.
what exactly is a telltale,
Well, they're called Appalachian Jacktails. The most famous is Jack and the Beanstalk.
right?
But the character Jack, no matter where you put him, he's this kind of forlorn and lost kid that is nothing but bad luck. And then something happens and he miraculously turns his luck around. Those are called Jack tales. There's also fairy tales, any kind of tale. Uh, Typically, it's for children, but also adults get into that stuff as well. So that's one type. The other is personal narrative.
There's not type, Chuck. I've never seen, I don't think, but tell me if you're ever going to run this type. What is it that they make up tales or liars tales or
Yeah,
what do you call
liar's contest. Yeah.
it?
Yeah, that's when you test your BS with an attitude to the limit. And you it's something that sounds really engaging, but none of it's true.
Have you ever
And it's
done
a
that?
contest to see who is the best liar.
Have you ever done that?
I've done it once and I was not the best liar.
Okay, no, someday I'd like to see that. And let's then go from those shows, Chuck, to another one. You have upcoming up. You have a couple upcoming. But the
Yeah.
next one is coming up at the Story Parlor. And if you would talk about that one,
Yes. Um, this is a show featuring four women, and the show's title is, why did I just forget the show's title? I'm sorry. Uh,
well, I have it. I think we call it Wise Women.
Wise Women, Fearless Sisters.
Right.
Wise Women, Fearless Sisters. And the title fits these four women perfectly. The first is Nancy Reeder, and Nancy Reeder is president of the North Carolina Storytelling Guild. She has hiked and told stories literally all over the world. She has hiked the Appalachian Trail and just a very emotional story along with that one. And she's just a great person, a great teller. The second person is Donna Catton Johnson, Catton, Catton. And Donna was a tale teller. She was a nursery, not a nursery school. She was a elementary school art teacher. So she engaged her students with a lot of stories, but she's also an actor. So she put those together, and now she's very adept at the personal narrative. But she has that theatrical background, so you're going to pay attention. The third one is Sarah Wilcox, and Sarah just graduated from my class at the Weaverville Community Center in January. And this is, I think, her third time telling. She's a natural. Sarah is fantastic. Uh, she's from Brooklyn. She had enough of a tough life to be able to tell wonderful stories about it. So she can reach your heart with a smile and a tear. It doesn't get better than that. And the fourth one is someone who is I'm very close to this person. She's in the other room, my wife, Cindy Berryman Fink. And Cindy as well has got a great background in stories. She was a professor of communication. This isn't just giving a family member a gig. She's very good. So these four women are coming up on July 19th on this Sunday, and it's going to be a great show.
Now, what's interesting about Cindy is you started storytelling before she did. Is that correct?
Yes,
And you got
yes.
her involved in it?
Yeah, and she wrote a book. It's called Tales of New England. Beware of Hanging Icicles, Tales of a New England Girl. And each chapter is a story. So we started talking about that, and she has evolved some of those, and that's one that she'll be telling on Sunday, the 19th. And we also have tells where we both get on stage together and tell stories that typically embarrass the hell out of each other. But it's a lot of fun. And that's what we seek in our marriages. Let's enjoy life.
So how is it telling stories at the same time as your wife on the same show? Have you ever been on the same show together?
Oh yeah, that's tandem telling.
Oh, no,
You're
but I'm saying where you produce and
it's
you people have
yeah,
seen
we're
you.
telling one story together.
It's interesting. Are the different sides to the same story?
No, no, no. It's just the same story with a little dig here, little dig there, lots of love, lots of laugh.
Okay, that must be fun though, is it?
Oh, it's a ball. It's an absolute ball.
So if people,
The one is just to give you a title. She's trying to kill me. No, I'm just trying to get him off the couch.
well, that's what I'm saying. The same story from two different perspectives.
Yes,
Was that
yes.
how it comes? That'd be fun to watch. Is that how it
Oh,
comes out?
I'll let you know the next time we're doing one. In
Okay,
fact, yeah, I had to reschedule. I think it'll be next year where she and I will get up there and do that.
so after this show, so if people, first of all, people come to this show, what will they expect? So they'll see these four women. They each take,
Yes.
how long do they tell a story?
15, 20 minutes. It's not, you're not going to be bored. And I have to give it up to the Story Parlor as well. It is one of the few locations where they also have beverages of all types, whereas so many, they just don't allow alcohol. Well, here, no one gets drunk, but it's so nice to have people to be able to engage. The seating is comfortable, it's small, it's very intimate. It's just a wonderful experience for those that go there.
So after this show, so people can come to it, you tell me off there, you have two others coming up. I'll say in your spare time. I'm saying this, Chuck. It's almost like great to be retired, but it seems you're almost as busy as you were when you were working.
Well, like I
Um,
said offline, my son works at a talent agency in Hollywood, and he and I are doing a lot of the same work, but he's getting paid.
okay. So after this show is over, talk about you mentioned two other events coming up, kind of exciting.
Well, there's one in particular. They're related, actually. October the 9th and October the 11th, there are two shows. One's going to be at the Weaverville Community Center, and that will be Ray Christian and me. Ray is a nationally known storyteller. He's part of an HBO Max documentary on the Burning Man. Um, I think it's called This Man's on Fire. And Ray has been featured there several times. A tremendous person with a life story that just blows you away. And so, and he's also a black man. He was a veteran. He was a paratrooper in Afghanistan. And so he's just had these significant life experiences. Well, he and I will be at the Weaverville Community Center, and it's engaging the audience. We're not just telling stories. We can't help it. Each of us will have maybe one, but the purpose is to draw the audience in so we can have a discussion with the people at the Weaverville Community Center. It's free, and we can discuss how our views are evolving and also field questions from them and perhaps get someone interested to want to take a class.
So that's one event coming up. And right after that, you have another almost like couple
Yes.
days later.
2 days later, the 11th of October, this one's at the Story Parlor. And that is the second time that I've been able to produce a show that has only four Black storytellers. And the first one was at the Weaverville Community Center about 3 years ago. And Ray was in that one. Afterwards, told me that was the first time ever that he said that there have only been four Black storytellers on a stage without any white tellers as well. So I thought that deserves a repeat performance. So October the 11th, we'll have Ray Christian, Becky Stone, who was also at the first one. Wallace Bohannon is a gentleman that's a good friend of mine. I've coached him. Let me put it this way. Wallace is now far better than his coach. He's just done a tremendous job. And then the fourth is Kelly Jolly. And Kelly is an outstanding performer, both a musician and a storyteller. So the four will take the stage, and it's going to be Cultural Awareness 2. The first show was Cultural Awareness 1. Becky Stone came up with the title. And just these folks are very close to me. Kelly, I've just gotten to know more recently, but the other three folks are I consider dear friends. So it's a meaningful show on October the 11th.
And what I find interesting hearing you talk to these folks, and you talk to me about this privately as well, is that you also seem to have increased your circle of friends, if you will, in terms of all these storytelling folks. You seem to get very close with them or get friendly with them.
Yeah, I think that's one of the advantages of going further into storytelling. You meet more people. And frankly, as a group of people, you can't get nicer, more congenial, more caring, more gracious people than storytellers. Just wonderful people. Of course, there's an exception here or there. We're human beings. But as an entire group, these are just such warm-hearted, gifted people that are generously sharing with others. You just can't beat them.
And it's funny you say that because I think of myself in terms of, as you know, we own a dog now, and I never saw this before, Chuck, but you get friendly with, in my life, I never talked about dogs before. I could care less about dogs. But now, all you speak to are people and their dog. And, it's changed our whole conversation as a result. And you find that most of them are very friendly and outgoing. If they own a dog, it's very easy
Yes.
to talk with people. If
Yeah.
folks want to find out more, Chuck, about both Chuck Fink and about some of these upcoming shows, what's the best bet?
Well, I think the first thing is for the July 19th program at the Story Parlor is to go to the storyparlor.com events slash events, and you'll see the Wise Women, Fearless Sisters listed for July 19th, and you can buy tickets there. The tickets are $25 each. It only seats 45, I believe. So it's worth it because of the intimacy and the closeness, and having drinks available. It's just a wonderful experience. For personally, I have my own website. I probably don't maintain it as much as I should. Storyteller.com. And on Facebook, I'm sorry, on YouTube, Chuck Fink Storyteller. And you'll see some of my stories on there as well.
And
Gertie will
last,
be on there.
and lastly, if folks want to sign up for a course that you're teaching or find out more about teaching, a course you're teaching, When's the next one, and when's the best bet to find out about that?
The next one will probably be in January or February at the Weaverville Community Center, and that one is free. The Weaverville Community Center has a newsletter that comes out, but what I would suggest is contact the folks at the Weaverville Community Center, ask to be on their mailing list, and you'll see announcements about the show. I'm sorry, about the class, when it will be, how many. It's usually, I try to keep it 10 or less because we have a lot of work that we do together. So I try to keep it relatively small.
Okay, well, anyway, I'd like to thank you, Chuck, for being my guest on this edition of Blaine's World podcast. I also like to thank my producer, Kim Jones. Hopefully, we'll bump into each other sometime in the near future, my friend.
Yes, and thank Kim as well. She's been a pleasure to work with. She
Okay,
makes you look good, Blaine.
okay, and that's tough. Thanks, buddy. Speak to you soon.
Take care. Bye.